Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome. Just do the whole podcast as a musical with my horrible voice. Welcome to the episode, Tayshia Marie.
Sounds like a Christmas carol.
We've got Tayshia and I am Dave Neal. We are engaged to marry someday. We are co-hosts of a podcast called The Sap. If you are new to us, hello. I'll address the camera to say hi. Hello to the second camera. Hello to the third camera. We have a 3-camera set. We're doing all right, Tayshia.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
We're hanging in there. I had a nervous breakdown.
Just a small one.
You'll never see it. I'm never going to let you see the wrath that I have within me growing up in New England, the ability to just throw some shit across the yard.
Honey, I remember when we were first dating, you slammed your fist down on our old coffee table and you broke it.
That was the flimsiest coffee table ever.
That
was literally...
I was so mad at you, and I let you know it, and you never broke anything since then. You never slammed your fist on anything in anger since then, so I feel like I won.
I finally hit the right button. I hit the right button there. You did. You know what? You set some boundaries that you didn't want me to punch things. And all you had to do was...
Seems like a low bar. Seems like I shouldn't necessarily have to ask
It's not, because there's no class, there's no finishing school for teaching people how to overcome their limbic rage. And I can get rageful. I suppress it, but I get so mad. We had a guest cancel on the podcast. I shouldn't even say that because it looks like we're just being canceled left and right. It's Los Angeles.
It's a pandemic.
People cancel. You just can't.
My cans are so loud.
Your cans
Can you
are loud.
just turn them down a little bit?
Is it your cans that are loud,
it's
or
you
is it
talking
me
loud?
That's too loud? Yeah, your cans aren't loud at all. It's actually my microphone is too high. Thank you.
Okay.
It wasn't your cans at all. It was my voice.
I just wonder how you don't hear that yourself. Like, are you going deaf? Do you not realize how loud you are?
Hearing my voice makes me come. This is good for my soul. Yeah,
what were you saying?
I was just saying how I take everything personally. If you don't respond to my text message right away, personally. If you don't like this video, I just take everything. And that's the whole battle of life.
Our first-time listeners are going to think you have a huge rage problem. Dave manages his feelings very well.
Well,
but you started to say that there's no finishing school for like guys to know how to manage their emotions properly. And it's pretty simple. You shouldn't be bottling up your rage. You shouldn't be burying it deep down inside you. You should be expressing it in a productive way, which I think in general you do.
I don't bury it down. I go on long runs. I do some other things.
You rant on YouTube.
I rant. I love ranting on YouTube. The live stream videos. The other day, you weren't there. I just started yelling, "Are you not entertained?" Like, the movie Gladiator. And I don't remember why someone had commented that. And it was like my little
it's therapeutic.
What's it called? The break room where you just break things.
I need to break those like rage rooms.
Yeah, I need to rage with my words. I rage with my words.
That was in one of our Christmas movies. What was that one called?
For those new, I'm doing a much better job. It's a free-flowing podcast, but I'm doing a much better job of time-stamping in the YouTube comments where, different chapters of what we're going to talk about today. So today, we're going to talk about the 5 Netflix and some other streaming movies, Christmas movies that we watched. We're going to rate them on a scale of 1 to 5 candy canes because, your boy likes a good sugar. Yeah, I ate a candy cane the other day. I found a bunch of candy canes in my tire well in my trunk.
Gross.
Yeah, I ate them.
Why didn't you bring so we could actually physically hold up candy canes?
I looked for them the other night. I looked for them in the store. They didn't have them. They're still giving away the Halloween candy.
Chocolate.
Yeah. So for those listening, if you're catching this in the future, who knows when? It's November 15th, and it might sound a little early for some, but it's a pandemic. We're getting into the Christmas season.
It's literally the only thing we have to look forward to. This is going to be the cherry on top of our shit Sunday of 2020.
Jeez, Tayshia. Well, my thing is this. So anyway, to finish on what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to share 5 Christmas movies, and then I wanted to talk first. I wanted to talk a little Bachelorette. Now, a lot of people listen to the podcast and don't follow the Bachelorette. A lot of people that follow the Bachelorette don't listen to the podcast. We're trying to bridge that gap because what we do mainly on the podcast is we use the human condition as a common denominator to talk about happiness, authenticity, finding our own joy in life. Would you agree?
Sure.
We look at people, we look at wrongs, we look at, Chris D'Elia was in the news. We talked about him skimping on teen girls, and then Colton Underwood's, stalking his ex. We go from one, whatever whatever we can all talk about, that's something we can, because I could talk about my, my cousin Timmy, but if you don't know Timmy, it's going to be hard for me to paint the story of how, whatever. So, not that Timmy has done anything wrong. Timmy's a good guy. Timmy is really good at getting a BJ. I got a cousin, guys. Let me tell you, he'll go to the library and be like, I just got blown into that. Like, I don't know what he says.
Everybody's got that like one thing that's magical, right? Like some people just like a good parking spot is always waiting for them.
Tim gets a good blowjob. He just knows. I had a friend, Matt, shout out Matt Borges, played baseball, used to play baseball together, and I remember he had a pickup line he said to a girl. It was in college, everyone's drinking out late at night in like his back patio or whatever, and he told some girl, he like whispered, he was a good looking guy, but you could tell like if he was famous, chicks would start digging up DMs from him, even though he was just hitting on girls. But he had his line, and he says to this girl, he goes, I got a pretty dick. Yeah, you looked at me like weird like that, right?
Gross.
Well, the next day I found out it worked. He planted a seed. He delivered. Apparently, it was a attractive, specimen. Where are you going?
Just to fix my.
You got to go fix your tea? Tasha got a new tea set up over here. You can tell. I hope the camera can cut away to your high school cheerleading booty shorts that she's wearing.
I thought you were gonna make fun of them.
How old are those shorts? Are those 50? Are those 20 years? We won't date. We won't. Put a carbon dating on those shorts. You need an anthropologist to properly date. 2001, she said. That was a good year, 2001. Never forget. The whole 9/11. Now every other day someone's dying. The same amount of deaths every other day from COVID as if it were a 9/11. Does that make sense? This podcast is for sure going to get demonetized. I said dick, COVID, and pandemic. So the second they hear you talk about anything, anyway, we're going to keep going. But yeah, the point is that you got to shoot your shot. You got, if you're out drinking with someone at 1 a.m., I think you have every right to tell them the scope and level of attractiveness of your genitalia. I think you have every right to. Oh, Tasha's saying no. This is the problem. So, someone actually commented. We have the podcast episode that we did called "Is this?" The thumbnail says "Is this consent?" And the idea was talking about how can we talk about consent in a way where not everything's bad. There are asking someone. There's certain levels of consent, right?
Yeah.
What was
like reading the room?
Who was on that podcast? Cora Boyd. Cora Boyd was on that podcast. Amazing guest. We got to get her back. But anyway, someone commented on it this week and said, "Hey, I watched this podcast and it changed my life." Now, look, we don't have a gigantic following. Let's be fair. There's a lot of content out there in the universe. We don't have a gigantic following. But every once in a while, we get a message from someone who says, like some guy in Australia, I listen to your podcast during my chemotherapy, and it's been great. It's like, golly, it's insane levels of gratitude when people write in and say they actually are listening. But the guy said, for whatever reason, something about that podcast hit him right, and he said it changed. I mean, he said it was like literally life-changing what he heard. I don't even remember what we talked about. That's the thing. We're just out here. When we talk about common denominators, we're out here putting our lives out there. But anyway, yeah. So with Matt, I mean, he threw a pickup line out there that and it was well received, and he got nookie after it. They whatever. So the point is that I think the thing you got to teach your sons, your friends, your guys, your ladies is that learning to read the room is a skill that we have to master. Because if you're wasted, you might be at a bus stop telling someone, I got a pretty dick. And then it's like, next, that's not a good time to be mentioning that. But all right, she's playing with her hair. She put her hand on the knee. Hey, I feel like it's time to let you know that I've actually got a well coiffed cock or something. I don't know. Leave a comment. Let me know. Do I sound crazy? I mean, I've said some crazy things to you, I feel like.
What have you said?
I don't know. I feel like I've said some things to you, or I've made some moves on you that might have otherwise been, ill-advised, I guess. If someone says, oh, geez, she's not into you, don't go for that. Oh, well, I think you think you may, but you're still going to strike out once in a while. But it's like that strikeout needs to be a legal strikeout. You can't just be like in a casting session and you whip it out. Like, that's not a good strikeout. But if you're on a date or whatever and you reach for someone's leg and then they take your hand and move it off the leg, that's a legal strikeout. I mean, at some point, you got to put your hand on the leg. You're escalating here. Like I said.
Well, let's start with like the arm first, Dave. The leg is a little close to the crotch.
You don't go high and go for the crotch. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying
the knee.
The knee. I'm saying, oh, hi, hey, how,
maybe a little
whatever.
extra long hand holding.
So we're watching The Bachelor. We're watching The Bachelorette. This season, The Bachelorette. Episode 5, for those that don't watch, is switched from Clare to Tayshia. Clare found her love by episode 3, and she said, I don't want any other guys. Neal Lane comes in with a 4.5 carat ring. 4.5 carats.
You looked it up?
Yeah.
I told you
Where's
that
you don't even have your ring on.
It's over
You
there.
get a girl a ring, and she... Show it off, bling it.
Babe, we went to breakfast this morning. We came home. Right. We made soap, and I didn't want to ruin my rings.
The whitest Sunday ever. We went out to breakfast. We came home. We made soap. What do you need from me? So Clare found love, and she was like, look, I don't want to be leading these guys on. Chris Harrison was like, fair enough. So they brought in their backup. They called in relief. And then Tayshia comes in. So Clare was 39. Tayshia's 29. Clare had incredible anxiety. Everyone collectively really disliked Clare. I mean, it was like a real movement of people being like, we don't like her. What would happen is that, like...
You mean the guys?
The guys didn't like her. The audience didn't like her. Everyone thought she was a bitch.
I didn't see episode 2, which is the only thing I missed. But in general, I really liked her. And I thought that her concerns that she was voicing were legitimate. Could she have maybe played her cards a little better, kept them a little closer to her chest? Yeah. Could she have gone along with the show a little bit more just for the sake of not, blowing up the season, which she kind of did? Sure.
Well, the thesis I'm getting to is that she has anxiety that it was triggering her. She mentioned it on the last episode. So for those who don't watch or don't listen, she would sit down with the 10 guys on the group date, and then all of a sudden she'd be like, "So what? No one wants to talk to me?" And she like ran off. And then she came back like ruminating. She got angry when we talk about ruminating with a perfection detox with Petra Colbert. Watch that episode. We talk about the perfection detox. Ruminating is taking a thought and just blowing it out of proportion, just blowing it. And anxiety is blowing things out of proportion, right? I mean, that's not like that's a very easy way to describe it.
Sort of definition.
But it's like first day of school tomorrow. I might as well not sleep all night, blowing it out of proportion.
Did you get anxiety before the first day of school every year?
I love school. I was early so I could chat with people.
Every night before the first day of school, meltdown.
Yeah, no shit. This is why you're like Clare. You're like, oh, I think Clare was fine. Yeah, because you have the same. You're an anxious. A lot of people get anxious. Wouldn't you say anxiety is your number one negative? I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but we know each other pretty well.
Anxiety is something I definitely struggle with, and I could see that in her as well. Long before their wrap-up episode, you could see there were like 2 or 3 instances where she was like sitting on the ground petting her dogs, like barely keeping it together. Yeah, you can see that she like has a lot that she works through. She talks openly about seeing a therapist. I think for people who struggle with anxiety or ruminating thoughts, it's helpful to like have methods for coping. And I think she probably does. I think she probably was talking to her therapist a lot, but she's a very,
the dogs are good. Getting a dog has to help for sure. Unless you got to fly with the dog, and then you get more, anxiety. So the dog shits on the, kitchen floor, and then the different levels of anxiety. But the point is that I see it in Clare. I'm not faulting her for it, but I'm saying, she'll be like, I'm a 39-year-old woman. I know what I want. And I can just see this quiver in her lip that goes, you are so incredibly insecure, just like most people are. And I don't know if you're addressing it, and maybe just the show put a magnifying glass over her. Like if you put an introvert, which I'd consider her one just off the bat, if you put an introvert on a show like that, and then 12 guys don't want to kiss you right away, oh my gosh, what the hell? Like,
but who said they didn't want to kiss her?
That's the point. Is what happened was they don't just roll action. Everyone try to kiss her. Everyone sits down. They start rolling the cameras, and then she's like, so.
And these group dates last all night.
Yeah, and then normally guys will be like, all right, can I take you first and whatever. But no guys did that, and then so she was like, what was that all about? And then she would get mad, more angry, and she was talking to this one guy, Bennett. She was talking to this one guy, Bennett, and then she was like, I'm sorry, I just have to go back, and she would get more mad. Like it took her out of her present moment.
But think about it this way. Is it taking her out of her present moment, or is she realizing I'm not going to be able to let this thought go until I go take care of it? So let me go take care of it so that I can come back to you feeling fresh, clean slate, with ready to receive you in the way you deserve to be received. I mean, let's be honest. People who struggle with anxiety have they manage their lives in a way that makes it easy for them. You know, they avoid triggers. They do these things. They go to a therapist. They might take medication. They might have like meditation every morning as soon as they wake up. Like, people set in place for themselves coping mechanisms to help them, you know, manage their anxiety. You throw that person who has a system, right? Like, our house is well designed for me to not have anxiety, right?
The walls are padded. Yeah.
But like, you know, I wake up in the morning, I have my routine. I can't really like get ready for work until the bed's made because I focus better when the house is clean. So like, you know, I have my routine that helps me to function as my best self. If I went on Bachelor or Bachelorette, utter chaos.
Oh yeah, you'd be like Claire.
And you know, if they expected it to go differently, they should have given her more resources, honestly.
Well, they don't. No, they obviously like the drama. Like, this is great for them and all that. But my question is, if you're an anxious person, is it better to fix all of your surroundings, or can you somehow try to fix the inside?
Well, but it's the same thing. Isn't it? I mean, like, how do you just stop being anxious?
Because you say, so with this scene, and you didn't watch it, but trust me, you can watch the tape. Trust me, she goes off, and it was completely misguided. This was like night 1 or night 2. So immediately everyone was like, this lady's bat crazy. So anyway, she, instead of ruminating, I need to go back there and tell them, I need to go, instead of that, couldn't she just, you know, say a mantra? And again, I know when you have one thing that, like, it'd be like saying, hey, Dave, don't get stressed out before a stand-up show. It'd be like, all right, good, thank you. But
how many times?
I know not to eat certain food before a stand-up show. I know not to eat or drink a Red Bull anymore because then I'm just like caffeinated and stressed out. Like,
how many times have you seen me, like, we'll be at home, we'll be at dinner, whatever, and I get a text message that's like a problem at work, right? Yeah. And it's like, pause everything, turn off the TV. Sorry, honey, I can't talk to you for a few minutes. I need to work this out. Like, sometimes you just have to put a pause and manage stuff and get it set in the right order so that then you can move on with your day.
Sometimes you tell me that, and sometimes you don't. And then I find out with your proverbial punching of the, you know, coffee table, you're smiling because I got a point. Sometimes I'm like, well, who farted in your Thanksgiving dinner? Like, what was that all about? And it's like, I don't even get mad at 90% of the things you do because it comes so far out of left field. I'm like, that one's on you, honey. That's on you. That's something you're working out. I'm going to go walk the dog. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, but like in instances where you don't let me know, like if you're on your phone and I'm like, hey, baby, we watching this movie or what? You know, you're on your phone. What's going on? And then you'll just be like, oh, I'm doing something. And I'll be like, oh, I didn't know if you were doing something or you were on Instagram. You know what I mean? And that's a problem we've talked about in the past is like when we're at home, we're living here in the pandemic. How do we know when we're doing work versus play versus procrastinating?
I'm telling you, we need to hurry up and patent and make this red light, green light pop socket or whatever.
No, we need a hat. So it's the work hat. So it's a little hood. It's like part of the iPhone case and it pops up and it's got a little, it's like a hard hat. And it's like, I'm at work.
I think, you know how that you can like make a circle and it'll have like a half circle on it so it can flap up and flat down. It needs to be one of those. It's like a pop socket with a flap, you know, and like a double-sided snaps or just one snap. So you can snap it up or it's low. So it's a green light. Interrupt me, okay, or it's a red light. Do not interrupt me.
But that's the thing is you'll just leave it on red light. You're like, I'm on Reddit. Don't interrupt me. I'm looking at Basset Down puppies.
That's not true.
My friend Jamie in Palm Springs owns a 3D printer of, you know, one of those very big industrial ones. So maybe she can 3D print us phone cases that have. Would anyone buy that? Let me know. Would anyone buy a phone case that tells your partner that you're busy, leave me alone, or and yeah, maybe it's like a little rotating dial. It's like leave me alone, or like you know, I'm just looking at Instagram or whatever. But the problem is sometimes we're just scrolling along and then something else comes up. And anyway, so yeah, the point is you need, as if you're dealing with anxiety, and everyone gets anxiety in different ways. I'm well aware when I have a stand-up show, like I said, even before the podcast, I'm annoyed. I'm kind of, you know, I'm like annoyed at this stupid outlet. I'm trying to plug 3 different. We got those the MacBook Pro plugs. You know, they're just way too big.
Yeah, why did they make
they're
those
so
big?
Top heavy. You plug 2 of them in, and then the whole plug moves down. I'm pissed at those MacBook Pro plugs. really pissed. There's no, what science is in those things? Nothing else in this world.
It's like design and not functionality.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
These stupid things. What the hell is this? Look, and then you get two. So we have two of them. You're trying to plug two of these in. By the way, don't ever try to plug this into the wall. You'll never be able to plug this into the wall. And then you got two of them, and they just anyway. So I don't. You could literally kill somebody if you threw this at their head. Anyway, so the point is that we all have different things that trigger us, and it's important to address that in our partner. So Claire. So anyway, so Claire's with Dale, this younger guy, stoic, tall model, former NFL player. Seems like a really good guy, and it seems like they're both after the same thing. She needs a caretaker, and I think he might be the type that enjoys taking care. And I'm not saying you need a caretaker, but you do need a guy who's not going to throw gasoline on your fire. You need a guy who's got a couple little sandbags, and I'm not trying to put your fire out. I'm just trying to stop it from spreading into the village. It's like, oh, Tasha's upset. Let's just put some sandbags around this little blaze she's creating. Not trying to put it out. You feel your feelings, but I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, you know what, Tasha? And I'm not going to, I get, there are days when I want to say what I really feel, and it's not worth it, because what's coming out of your mouth, the words, it's not the emotion. So sometimes it's like we don't deserve whatever fight could happen by falling for that primitive limbic system flaring up. I think we can evolve past that. It's like, I've decided I'm going to spend my life with you, and I love you, and I don't need the minutia arguments. Once in a while, the other day, you woke up first and you microwaved the coffee from the day before, and that got under my skin. I couldn't let that one slide.
I've still not let it go.
No one messes with my coffee.
Yeah, make a pot of coffee.
Can I take a poll of the audience here? Tasha's never. She first of all, you claimed you don't know how to make it, which I know is a lie. So you started your argument off with a lie. So you got to throw that argument
it
off.
Would just take a little bit of brain power, and there was leftover coffee, and you weren't going to get up for a while. And you know what? You know what I'm mad about? I'm mad that you didn't ask me the night before what time you wanted that I needed to wake up so that you could set the coffee. We literally have coffee that makes itself. You just have to set it up the night before, and it goes on a timer, and it can be ready when you wake up.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you, honey, but I want to break down what you're mad at. So you're mad that I didn't proactively find out that you're going to wake up before me, so I can make the coffee for you.
You knew I was waking up early already. You already knew that I was waking up early for a super long day of work, and you went out and you stayed out twice as long as you said you were going to stay out.
2 hours instead of 1. Don't act like it was 8 hours instead of 4.
You came home extra late. I was already in bed because, like I told you, I had a super early morning in the morning.
I want the YouTubers who are watching this to expand their screen and really look at Tasha's eyebrows when she's upset. I want you to really, they harden. This is where she harnesses her energy. They shoot out of her eyebrows. Look, yeah, it's a case of, what it all boils down to is miscommunication, because I'm more than happy to set the coffee.
I have told you many times that I appreciate so much, and it makes me feel so special when you set the coffee for me, or if you wake up before me, when you come wake me up with a cup of coffee. That's so sweet and so special, and it means so much to me in our relationship, and it's just a small thing that you do that I really love. But
I know that you like being woken up with a cup of coffee. So how do you think I feel in bed when I hear the microwave going off and I go, she's laughing, folks, so I clearly win. I don't even need to finish the argument. We're spitting her tea out because I'm right. So the argument's won, and that's what's great about the podcast is I don't.
To me that you need to be woken up with a cup of coffee.
I have too much pride to tell you what I want out of life.
That seems like a problem.
And then if you show up with a hot cup of coffee, I'm be like, oh, geez, I'm gonna feel like, oh, I didn't need like I've said, it's never about the gift. It's about the thought of the gift. I don't care for the gift.
But you also weren't trying to wake up at 6 a.m. like I was.
I'll wake up with you. Talk for a second. I got to reset the cameras here.
I don't have anything to say. You better make this really quick.
So what was your first impression? So Claire leaves the show. She finds her love. They get engaged 10 days in. Sure, go for it. Hey, It's, you know, there's no set standard here. The relationships that go the full course don't last any longer than that one. So get engaged at 10 days, you know, whatever. So they replace her with Tayshia, fresh breath of air for all the guys, going from this anxious kind of like controlling who's gonna fight for her. Claire wanted guys to fight for her, like literally fight for her. She wanted like war zone. And then Tayshia's just like happy to be there. So what was your first thought about Tayshia?
I really like Tayshia. I think she is really cute, really sweet. You could tell when she rolled up, like I think when you get told you're going to be the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, I think you probably have like 4 months of prep work by the producers. You know, they probably go through like your ideal guy so that they can tailor their selections to the kind of guys you're going to like. You are doing all this press and stuff like that. I feel like Tayshia really just got thrown in. And so she was a little nervous when she walked in. It wasn't like typically when the Bachelorette walks in, she's like wearing her crown. She knows it's her show. She's in charge. But with Tayshia, they just kind of like threw her to the wolves.
Which I think is good.
Say whatever you know, like they didn't really coach her.
Well, yeah, it's good because I think too many times there's a power dynamic. It's like the lead of the show is getting paid a couple $100,000. I think they're getting paid $200,000, $100,000, whatever it is. It can be pre-negotiated. And then the contestants are just vying for there's this power dynamic. Like you've got these contestants that are good guys. You know, Bennett, he's like Harvard graduate, works in, you know, whatever. But there he is, you know, kind of like just one of the 20 guys going after her. So it's like, it's not a level playing field. Like most times you meet somebody, it's like a job interview. It's like, oh, how can you help me? How can I help? How can, you know, I help you out? And in this, it's kind of like 20 guys, you know, just all playing dodgeball, trying to get the suitor's attention. So the fact that Tayshia's sort of like second fiddle, comes in, she's new, she's refreshed. I think she's going to give a lot of these guys a chance on like an equal level. It's been nice to have the show finally back, because the show was supposed to air months ago and all that. And then the Bachelor is going to start airing on like January 4th. They're filming it right now at a resort in Pennsylvania.
Do we know who the Bachelor is?
Yeah, it's Matt James. He was Tyler Cameron's friend, and he was supposed to be a contestant on Clare's season. And then Claire was like, look at my contestants already getting verified. Like she kind of made this snidey remark. And then it was like, I'm actually verified because I work with charities and this and that. And it kind of like made her look really stupid. But is it flashing, or is it just, am I having a stroke?
No.
Oh, is it because the air conditioner's on?
Probably.
Do you want to go shut it off?
I'm sure it'll stop.
Wow, it feels like we're running 5 or 6 different cameras, right? Lighting systems, and I turn the air conditioner on for 2 seconds, and then the whole place is glitching out. Anyway, so yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting, and thank you guys for letting me ramble on about that.